GearNetwork.com.
Hi, my name is John, and I'm here to let you know that this podcast is sponsored by our store through Amazon. If you visit GearNetwork.com and click on the Amazon banner, it will take you directly to Amazon.com, and you can do all of your Amazon shopping. If you want it, Amazon has it at often the greatest prices, and it can be delivered right to your front door. And when you use it, you tell Amazon that we're referring you to them for your shopping, so they kick the network back a little something to help out with our production costs. There legitimately is no extra cost to you, and this legitimately helps out the Gear Network when you shop through our link. That's on GearNetwork.com. Click the Amazon banner, bookmark, save, and share. If you use it, please accept our thanks. If you do not use it, please consider doing so. Again, that is GearNetwork.com, and click on the Amazon banner at the top.
Hey there, podcast fans, and welcome to episode number 5 of Misguided Musings. This week's episode, we are going to talk about the problem the NFL is having in their public relations nightmare. We're also going to talk about Thanksgiving, and in light of recent events, we're going to start off the show talking about Paris and the atrocities that happened there over the weekend. We are recording on the 15th of November for our current episode to launch probably a little after Thanksgiving. So I do want to take this minute, this time here, and we're going to do a quick moment of silence for those affected by the tragedy in Paris.
Viva la France!
Let's talk about Paris real quick, guys. I don't want to get too deep into Paris because there's still a lot of stuff that we don't know yet, and I don't feel like we should politicize tragedies. Until there's a lot more happening. I mean, we're getting bits and pieces of information about ethnicities and, people who are claiming responsibility for this. And so I until we know more, I just want to kind of go over some of the basics and give our thoughts on it. My personal thoughts on the whole thing, I was kind of shocked, actually, because, normally we hear, there's threats that violence will happen in this region or this area. The terror alert gets raised or lowered, and we didn't hear anything about that. This just came out of nowhere. All the intelligence agencies are saying that this almost seemed random at first, and they were unsure that anybody was going to come forward and claim responsibility for these attacks. And until ISIS did come forward, it seemed like people were really completely caught off guard. And so I think that in and of itself is probably the scariest thing that I think of when I think of this, because supposedly one of the people who France took in via Greece as a Syrian refugee was a suicide bomber, and they found his passport. And so the thing that's terrifying about that is, all these countries have now taken in these Syrian refugees, and, maybe that's part of what they're trying to do. I mean, ISIS said that they were going to infiltrate America via the refugees. And here we are, and I hate to be xenophobic, but I feel like it's worth bringing up that this is a bigger issue, I think, than people are really starting to be clear on.
I completely agree. I think when you look at just even recent events with the downing of the Russian airliner, that was claimed to be done by ISIS, and it looks like it was. And now, what's happened in Paris, they're starting to reach higher and higher targets. I think this is the first assault, I would call it, on a capital city, like a modern capital city, ever.
Well, this is the first assault on Paris since World War II. That's what they came out and said. So, right. I mean, we can say that this is the first terror attack on a capital city for a country that has not had terror before.
This was an assault. There were like 3 or 4 teams, working together and basically assaulting different areas with the intent to kill and they accomplish their goal.
I think the other thing that I find very interesting about this is that originally it was thought that it was one team of people that had done this in a straight line, because when you saw how the attacks broke out, there was the stadium, the restaurant, and the Bataclan, which is the concert hall, and they were all in a straight line. It was almost as if they had moved throughout the city and hit in 3 separate areas. But no, there was suicide bombers who actually could have gotten into the stadium if it wasn't for stadium security detecting his vest and him detonating it early. That could have been so much worse.
I feel bad. I know, Matt, I know you're a huge fan of Eagles of Death Metal, as am I. I feel very bad for all the fans and the band that were playing.
Scary about this, too. I mean, I plan on visiting Paris in a couple of years for my honeymoon. And, just say, for instance, I have a wedding coming up, and the wedding happened, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go to Paris in November, even though it's a bit of a colder time. But, me and my fiance decided, okay, let's go. And, hey, I look, Eagles of Death Metal are playing. Oh, my God, that's great. I didn't get a chance to see them in September. Great, I'll see them in Paris. I mean, that could have happened to anybody, and to go see a concert venue when you're seeing a band or an artist that you idolize, and it's generally a time for people to go out and have fun, listen to really great music, and it's basically the last thing you would expect to happen at a concert.
Well, so the one thing I will say about that is Eagles of Death Metal weren't necessarily targeted. It was the concert hall itself that was the target.
Oh, yeah, I know that too, man, because one of the first things I thought was, they're targeting Eagles of Death Metal because, they're, somewhat, sexually provocative band. They have a little, unique puns in their titles, song titles, album titles. They certainly have that rock and roll essence of, sexual energy, but no, it had nothing to do with that. As you said, they just happened to, target that area, and there happened to be a concert with over 1,000 people. So obviously that was the reason why the target was that concert venue. But it's just, and as you brought up, Jordan, thank you for bringing it up. This is no time to have any sort of xenophobia towards any kind of race. But, a lot of people do tend to not use the word, Islamic radicals, but, let's, without getting into politics, without being, too xenophobic myself, we should start to be more aware of everything that happens around us. And, I'm not saying we should racially profile, but, do keep an eye out for it. And, and it even goes further than that. Some of these people that have joined ISIS are not just, Muslim people or they're from Muslim areas. I mean, there was one person in Western Mass earlier this year, and he was planning an attack, and he was a white kid whose father was a Boston police officer. In fact, I think his father was a sergeant.
Captain in the Boston Police Department.
Yeah, and that's scary. That they are ISIS, who we believe, tonight that, that they did come out and say that they were involved with it. They did orchestrate it. But that is scary to believe that they have, initiated people from, here. Because that is the scariest part of this, is not just, people coming in. And obviously, we now know that one of the refugees that came over from Syria was one of the suspects, but just in general to know that somebody you went to school with, your neighbor could be. We live in such unpredictable times in which a suspect can be anybody, and it's quite frightening. And my heart really goes out to the people of Paris. And this is a horrible situation. Obviously, they witnessed the Charlie Hebdo. Was
Hebdo,
it?
Yeah.
Hebdo magazine, the massacre happened there.
It was only a few months ago.
Yeah, it was back in May, I think.
And, this is terrible to have this happen. And I was listening to CNN and NPR, and one of the things that was brought up was France actually has one of the best intelligence in the world. I mean, I believe we're number one or number two. MI6 obviously has a great intelligence, but France has one of the best, and they had nothing on this, as you mentioned, Jordan. And that is the scariest part.
Yeah.
I mean, this could have happened here in the United States, and it just, we can't live in fear. Obviously, we have to continue to go out and do the things that, you go to do our jobs, go to family events, we need to go to concerts. We can't
change our lives based on the threat of something possibly happening.
But we need to be more aware of our surroundings.
The thing I will say, is we are going to focus on the victims, the people who no longer have their lives. And I think what we should also kind of focus on a little bit is the people who survived this and, who may not have necessarily been harmed, but will have some type of emotional distress from this. And
STD.
Nope, it's PTSD. I don't know. You may have
PTSD.
All I heard was STD, so I
heard the same thing. I was like, I don't know if that's appropriate.
Not an STD.
No.
I bet that people would rather have an STD than have PSTD.
But I was like, it's another terrible mess.
Yeah, right. I was really hoping that we were going to avoid that, so I'm glad that we cleared that up. But I want to bring it back real quick to me in something that I experienced. So back when the Bruins won the Stanley Cup, the day before their parade in Boston, I actually was held up at gunpoint. And I don't know that I've actually told anybody this, but I actually couldn't get myself to leave the house the next day to go into Boston because I was having panic attacks because I didn't know if, something was going to happen in Boston where, I would not even per se run into the people that had, pointed the gun at me, but, be put into a situation where I didn't know if there was going to be somebody there, who was going to do something crazy or, something along those lines. I mean, I was having panic attacks. I couldn't go into malls for a bit. I actually was invited to an event by some friends. It was a barbecue event up in Vermont. And I actually, the night before, I had all my stuff packed. I had a panic attack and couldn't go because I just kept thinking, well, what if I go up there and, something like this happens? And this is going to be a very real thing for the people who survived these attacks throughout Paris. And I mean, there's thousands of affected people right now that are going to need just as much support as the families of the victims who are no longer have their lives. So that's something that, you hear stories about. One woman was interviewed and she was standing on the concert floor and she heard the gunshots and dropped, and then somebody had dropped on top of her but wasn't moving, and she later, was basically covered in their blood and realized that they were dead, and the only thing that saved her life was that she didn't move. And so what she is assuming is that they assumed that she was dead as well as the person who was on top of her, and that's something that she's going to have to live with for the rest of her life. She's going to have to live knowing that the person beside her who didn't keep their life gave their life almost for her in a weird sense, It's very, very, very weird to talk about. And it's sad that we have to talk about this on what I had actually planned to be a lighthearted episode, and hopefully we can actually get to that. But as a group here, felt that we had a moral obligation to kind of talk about this a little bit.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought it up because it's obviously something that even though we're thousands of miles away from Paris, it's something that we felt, and the PSTD aspect of it. I mean, that was a good example you brought up, and it was a sad situation that happened to you, and obviously this is a very similar situation, so it was good for you to bring up that perspective of anxiety. And I've had anxiety in my life for different situations, nothing as intense as what you witnessed or obviously what the people have witnessed in Paris, but it's good to talk about these things, and it's good to bring out your fears and do it in a way in which you're not discriminating or showing any sense of xenophobia. But I think it was an important thing to bring up to the show because we are a current event show, and it's something that we need to bring up. And one thing I hope within this time the show is recording, that nothing else happens, because that would just be terrible, especially for a holiday event that's coming up the next couple of weeks. So
I'm going to take it upon myself to send us a quick break. We're going to play one of our PSAs for you guys, one of the ones that you're probably used to hearing, get back to some of the levity of what we had hoped for, and maybe we can use this as a distraction from some of the events and get a different perspective and make this more of a lighthearted show, something that you guys you listeners are more used to hearing. We'll be back.
Are you feeling socially unaccepted? Drink some alcohol. It's the greatest thing on earth. It makes you feel better, and also it aids dopamine. So remember, feeling bored or socially unaccepted, drink tons of alcohol. This was brought to you by the good people at the Alcohol Advocacy for Getting Ugly People Laid.
Welcome back, everybody, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up as to what we're kind of going through on the podcast. We've decided to do things a little differently. We are recording, and we are going to be editing differently, and so due to some technical difficulties after we recorded our segment on Paris, and then some difficulties we were having kind of picking up the energy of the show, we felt it was best to give ourselves some time from that segment to reset and then go back into the NFL and our Thanksgiving episode, and then also allowed us to get Jesse back for this episode. So the gang is reunited. It's Tom, Jesse, Matt, and I again tonight. And so we're going to pick up with the NFL and some of the issues that they're having recently in the public relations space. So, guys, I don't know if you heard this, but basically a report came out that the Pentagon is paying sports teams millions for the pregame patriotic events, and the NFL has received the biggest amount of that. It's a $6 million paycheck to the NFL teams out of the whole 6.8 that the Pentagon has spent. And I got to be honest, it disgusts me that these teams are actually taking this money and, being paid to do something for veterans and our soldiers, I think, is just kind of disgusting. But as a Patriots fan, I am disgusted with the fact that the New England Patriots have received the second highest amount of money of all of the NFL teams that were paid to do that. To me, I'm shocked, and I would hope that they've done something good with that money instead of putting it in their own pocket.
It's like a big advertisement for didn't they wasn't there like a whole movie like around September? It was like around September 11th, the time when that whole thing happened. Wasn't there like it wasn't a movie maybe, but it was like a song by who was a Kid Rock or somebody, and it was like this trailer of like the army going over to kick ass and everything. It looked like it cost like millions of dollars to make. It was like
American Badass. Is this
maybe I don't. Was it American Badass? It very well could have been, but this is just real life. It's a real life example of the Army advertising. I mean, dude, if I was sitting at a game and I saw 6 jets screaming over my head, I'd be like, damn, that is badass.
I think that less of it should fall on the Pentagon, though, and more of it should fall on these sports teams. I mean, as a fan, you go and you watch these veterans come back from Iraq, or they're being honored for their service overseas. They're being honored by presenting the flag of the country in the Star-Spangled Banner and the American National Anthem, and they're receiving money to do that. The Pentagon had to pay to do that. NFL teams,
but it's not the vets that are paying for it. It's not coming out of veterans' pockets. It's honestly, I pay my taxes every day, so the government gets their piece of every bit of work that I do. So fuck them. They can pay to put their fucking flag up.
It's funny though, Jesse, because that's our money. They're basically using taxpayer money to do these events. This is part of the appropriations that the Senate gives them. I feel like the Army could use $6.8 million a little bit better, but then again, it's the Army. They'd probably find a way to screw it up.
Oh, no, absolutely. They could get the 6. I doubt they would put it to a good use because, managing things in a useful way does not seem to be our government's forte.
The Army's, especially right now with returning veterans, I think, we're so used to being at war. We've been at war now for, was it like 13 years, 14 years?
Yeah. I mean, since September 11th, 2001.
So it's been 14 years. And so, I mean, for teenagers, that's been their entire life. We've been at war with terrorists. It's all they know. And for somebody like me, that's half my lifetime. So, at some point, I think you start to kind of just become accustomed to the idea of us fighting in a battle, and soldiers dying, and veterans coming back with PTSD, and you just kind of, you take that at face value, and you're kind of ungrateful. And I think that the Army kind of has to, in the Pentagon and just the all armed services, kind of have to, an image to maintain. At least in some regard of respect for the veterans and everything, and the contributions that the armed services are making, even if, it's not going to be fans at a game who are going to, out of their own accord, just stand up and start cheering, a soldier who happens to be there. The Pentagon's going to try to, is going to try to make sure that something happens that is kind of.
I guess the point that I was trying to make is that, maybe we should not have had teams be paid to do this. This is something that they should want to do. And maybe I'm being naive. I don't know. And I know the Army's actually, they're facing a bigger crisis now because I don't know, I hope you guys have heard this, but in Massachusetts, an Army Reserve Center was broken into.
Completely unrelated to.
Oh my God. And so the person stole, it was 10 9mm pistols.
And 6
which
M4s.
I would assume that they're Beretta M9 pistols. Not that anybody needs to know that.
Anyone who played Resident Evil 1 will recognize that.
But yeah, so the Beretta 9mm. And then there's been conflicting reports because they said that there was long guns stolen, which either to me is like a belt-fed machine gun or it's a sniper rifle. It's not. It's very strange.
It was on the whatever website I was reading today said it was M4s that were taken. 6.
Right, the M4s are the regular
assault rifles, right?
I'm hesitant to use the term assault rifle because I don't know whether they're select fire or not. But basically, the M4s are.
Oh, Jordan coming through with all his gun knowledge.
Well, listen,
select fire.
I just prefer to be accurate in what I report on it because considering the fact that I am a gun owner and I appreciate gun talk and I can speak to the Second Amendment in guns, I don't like to categorize things if I can tell you what they are incorrectly.
I am unable to select a gun to fire.
What Jordan won't tell you is he's an illegal gun owner. Quite proud of it. Don't know why you're broadcasting it on the air to people.
Yeah, right. I don't have my license or my gun locked in a safe or anything like that.
Nope, not one bit. I've seen it.
It's just under your pillow.
So the army's really facing this, and this is all after Paris, obviously. So it's really a scary time for us here in Massachusetts and in America. And today, a plane landed in Boston, and a passenger had to be restrained because she tried to get into the cockpit. These things are happening, and I think, obviously, there's a heightened sense, so we're seeing it more in the news, but this was something that happened almost exactly after we had stopped recording the last segment. That break-in at that armory had happened, and I saw that news come across, and remember talking to Matt and Tom about it, and just going, oh my God, I can't believe this just happened, so... Let's touch on the other side here for the NFL. A recent article came out. This was on October 15th of this year, and it said that the NFL is not really giving a lot of the money that it makes from its pink merchandise sales in October to breast cancer research. It's going to the American Cancer Society, but only a small percentage of the money that they make from the sales. It's got to do with their licensing costs and fees and all that. And basically, the money that they're donating to the American Cancer Society doesn't go to research. It goes to print flyers that local places can deliver to women at their community doctor's offices that will basically give them information about mammography and discovering breast cancer. So the NFL has recently come under quite a bit of fire for being the biggest taker of money from the Pentagon, and now not really giving out their proceeds from Pink October to breast cancer like they'd like you to think.
Oh, those jerks.
A bunch of dicks.
As Matt would have said, they were boobs. Like boobies.
Oh, we get the pun, Jordan. Now,
Bunch of double D's over there.
see, people have to realize there's no such thing as like real charities anymore. Everything's kind of a scam. No one does anything for free ever. Everybody wants their piece, and then they'll hand out a little bit to the actual like charity that they want.
That is depressing.
It's
Yeah,
a sad fact of life.
messed up?
Everybody, we're all a little naive. We're just like, hey, could things be nicer? But no, why would they ever at all be nicer? Because that's not the way that life works. Everyone's a bit shitty, even when they're trying to do something nice.
Well, I think the actual number is that less than 1% of the NFL's gross profit for the year actually goes to breast cancer research, and to me that number is disgusting because they make like billions of dollars.
Yeah, they're a
every
billion-dollar
year,
industry where we watch millionaires play a game and then go, "Oh, that was me." Ugh.
Yeah, right. Well, that's my team.
Yeah.
Our guys played great this week. What?
We won the Super Bowl. You weren't there. You didn't win shit.
I didn't see your ass get folded in half making a catch. I think this is kind of an interesting thing, though, because the NFL actually also hasn't paid taxes up until this year, where they finally decided. Well, because they were a non-profit organization. I don't know anybody who has a $10 billion a year operating cost, because I think that's what they made last year was $10 billion. I hope to God they get screwed in taxes this year, just because they didn't want to say the word raped.
You said it anyway.
Sorry.
That totally takes away the buffer.
I hope they get raped in taxes this year.
I hope the NFL has a horrible financial season after the Patriots win the Super Bowl.
All right, well, so I wanted to get that out there. I just figured we should do that. You guys have anything else you think we should bring up about the NFL? Great. In other breaking news, Charlie Sheen, HIV positive. I kind of think it's kind of ironic. This guy was on his crazy person rant a few years ago about tiger blood, sleeping with hookers, and now he shows up with the HIV. So good for him.
If you listen to that interview that he did this morning on, was it Good Morning America? I believe it was. Yeah, he said that was right around the same time that he got diagnosed. So it probably had a thing to do with him losing his shit.
Oh, so it's been out for a while, right?
He said he's been positive for 4 years. He's known for 4 years and has been paid. He said it was upwards of $10 million he's paid people who found out to shut the fuck up about it.
Why?
Because there's a lot of stigma to it, and everybody knows Charlie Sheen bangs a lot of people, so then,
Do you think this is the first time some of the people he slept with are finding out?
Oh, God.
Could you imagine if he's on Good Morning America and he's like, and I'd like to talk to Brooke. Brooke, I apologize. Oh, and Cinnamon, you were with me last weekend. I just plain old forgot to tell you. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. Could you imagine waking up and finding out Charlie Sheen has AIDS in the newspaper?
Charlie Sheen is finally losing.
Oh.
Yeah, right. No longer hashtag winning.
Mm-hmm. No longer winning.
Everyone last night on Twitter, hey, Charlie Sheen's not winning anymore. A man is dying. Everybody's remember that catchphrase? It's like,
winning.
A man was
Magic
extorted
Johnson had money, and he's living with HIV.
Yeah,
I think
Charlie Sheen was extorted for about $10 million because he didn't want anyone to find out that he had AIDS. And the Enquirer's like, hey, we're going to tell people. And he's like, then I'll come out today and say it, you fucks.
You know what the funny part is the National Enquirer was like, I bet you he has AIDS. I'm just going to say it's AIDS. And Charlie Sheen's like, fuck it. It's HIV, guys, all right? It's not that bad.
And they were freaking out as soon as he was like, fine, I'll go on Good Morning America the day before your paper comes out. And they were like, you son of a bitch, Sheen.
Do you think the National Enquirer could sue someone for scooping their story?
Not if it's your own story.
Yeah,
I guess. You know what's funny is he thought that the National Enquirer was a big enough of a threat to be worried about them breaking the news.
Well, apparently they definitely had enough proof. I think what he was saying was one of the people that he had been paying off finally decided to get more money from another source and sell the info. He said there was one prostitute that was in his apartment one time, and she went into his bathroom, and when she came out, she had opened up his medicine cabinet, taken pictures on her cell phone of his AIDS medication, and said, now you have to pay me, or I'm going to sell these to the public for millions of dollars.
Charlie Sheen hasn't even been relevant, so what are you thinking you're going to get from him? Like,
he that's kind of my was the highest paid television actor in Hollywood. Man still has a lot of money. That 2.5 Men money that he was getting, he was the highest paid actor on TV at that time. So Charlie Sheen's got some fucking money.
I think he put the HIV in like a bank, and he was saving it for, once his popularity started to slide, he just reached into the old bank and pulled out HIV and let that.
Well, this hasn't made him popular. I think it's made people pity him.
No, but it's put him back on top of all the news sites and Twitter and everything,
I don't know
right in the spotlight, which is where he likes to be.
The best spotlight.
But it's a spotlight.
Don't confuse AIDS and HIV. You already yelled at me for that once.
Yes, but that was in the scrap recording. And then everyone goes silent. Nothing more.
Well, I didn't know where to go after that. I mean, the scrap recording may be the actual recording. I might take bits and pieces out of it. You don't know.
He's probably going to cut this part right here.
I don't think you can actually acknowledge a scrap recording sometimes.
I think you can.
Well, we are.
We are. People know that we're dysfunctional. Okay, this is what we're dealing with.
You refer to minute 15 of the scrap recording.
Well, so I am gonna call this a good point to take a break, and then when we come back, we are going to finish up with Thanksgiving, the dishes that people think fit on a Thanksgiving table. And we'll probably talk about some embarrassing family moments, the stuff that we hate about Thanksgiving.
Round ones.
Yeah, round ones. God, fuck you, Tom. You are just a terrible dad joker. You know that?
He is a father.
All right. we're going to break.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Fuck you, asshole.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, Tom!
See you traveling round town with the girl I love, and I'm like, fuck you. I guess the change in my pocket wasn't enough. I'm like, fuck you and enough.
We at the Misguided Musings would like to fuck you every other Saturday here on the Gear Network. Go fuck yourself, America.
I love you. I still love you.
Welcome back, everybody. Matt wanted us to let you know that he's been having some technical difficulties, but in reality, as soon as we mentioned that Charlie Sheen had HIV positive, he said something about getting tested and disconnected. So we have officially lost Matt for the rest of the episode. But you still have Jesse, Tom, and I, and so we're going to finish up this episode and kind of talk about the things that we kind of hate about Thanksgiving or like about Thanksgiving, or maybe some embarrassing stories.
Yeah, we're the survivors.
We are the survivors. Matt's the only one who was voted off the island. You know what I really hate about Thanksgiving, though, honestly, is traveling to, like, my parents and then going to my in-laws, or my in-laws and then my parents, vice versa. I got to pack up my daughter and then my wife. And the real big issue is I never want to put my shoes on. Like, I don't want to leave the house. And so I know if I put my shoes on, it's real. I don't want to do that anymore.
I thought you were going to different houses where you have to take your shoes off every time you go through the door.
Dude, we're not Chinese.
Or uppity, where you just don't step on the carpet. Fuck you. I'm wearing my shoes.
We just had the carpets done. Then don't host.
Or people who are like, we just have hardwood floors. I'm like, well, good. Then I can walk on them.
No. Listen, like the Japanese have got it right. They teach respect for your environment and everything that's around you, and you take your shoes off and you put indoor shoes on. There's nothing wrong with that.
There are some things that the Japanese don't get right. Like people are supposed to enjoy sex. Fix your porn, Japan. It's creepy. You've ruined buses for me.
I don't.
That laughter recognition that you both gave admits that you've both clicked those links.
I don't know whether you're referring to the blurred out parts or the weird tentacles on the bus. That I'm just confused.
Just the general fact that never once have I clicked on a Japanese porn and someone seems like they're enjoying themselves.
It's very confusing. I will give you that.
but you can't turn it off either. It's really like an awkward. Like, do I look in her eyes?
That's
No, but- and then, like, the girl- they're always
never
like,
look in the eyes.
Well, I'm sorry. Did you just step on a cat?
Yeah, that was my cat, yeah.
Well, did it want to be on the podcast? I'm a little confused.
No, that was a Japanese girl in porn.
You did a terrible impersonation. Of the
Well,
Japanese
I'm a
girl.
man.
I
I'm
will
not
say it
Japanese.
sounded
What do
a
you
bit
want from me?
cat-like.
You know what really annoys me about like Thanksgiving is when people try and make Thanksgiving Italian, and they're like, oh yeah, we have like a lasagna and meatballs. No, pretty sure the Pilgrims didn't have that. In fact,
What fucked up Thanksgiving did you go to where someone thought that was acceptable?
have you ever met an Italian family?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like commonplace. Like they all do potluck, and they're like, oh yeah, here's a lasagna and baked ziti.
Yeah, no, my family does lamb for Thanksgiving. I'm like, what the
Are
F
you
is going on
Polish?
here? Lamb for the yeah, we actually are a little bit.
Nailed it.
But I'm like,
His last name used to be Ivesky.
I've skied.
lamb for Thanksgiving? This doesn't make any sense.
No.
And there's always that asshole who brings like a green bean casserole, and you're like, nobody likes green beans, so you thought it would be acceptable to put it in a fucking casserole?
Oh, dude, way to nail my wife.
Or someone brings a crock pot full of Brussels sprouts, and you're like, oh,
I hope your
fuck
wife
you.
enjoyed it, Tom.
Brussels sprouts or cauliflower are probably the two most uneaten dishes at any party ever.
Dude, I went to Shaw's the other day. They have like a massed out section. It's just like green beans and that French onion, I don't know, but that fried whatever the hell it is that you make a green bean casserole.
It's like French onion soup mix. Or something like
whatever
that.
the hell it is. It's like massed out. They have a massive end cap. So I mean, like, imagine how many people are actually bringing this disgusting dish down to their relative's house.
Yeah, that only the grandparents are eating out of politeness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they're just like spitting it onto a napkin 5 minutes later. Anyway, you know that.
Oh yeah.
I do like the beer around Thanksgiving time. I think Thanksgiving beer is the best, and it's all because it's like that mix of, well, it's like it's Christmas beer and it's still Halloween pumpkin beer, or like the autumn brew or whatever they want to call it. And so it's all
Oktoberfest.
delicious.
People are still drinking Oktoberfest in November.
Well, no, see, like I almost made that mistake today. I went to the liquor store. I was going to buy. It was like there was Harpoon Winter, and there was like Harpoon. I think it was like pumpkin something or other. And I was like, I'm confused. I mean, I'm like towards the end of November. It's not Thanksgiving yet. It's not winter yet. It's still kind of like late October, early November. I don't know what the hell I'm getting. It's confusing.
It's like that awkward click on the Japanese porn that we were talking about.
Yeah.
This is why I just go with whiskey.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I guess. Yeah.
It's good for any season. Cool. Glad that sparked discussion.
Yeah, well, I mean, I prefer Scotch, Scotch whiskey. I mean, it's all the same thing. Bourbon, rye, whatever. It's
Beer.
It's all gonna get me drunk, which is nice.
Yep, all whiskeys are bourbon, but not all bourbons are whiskeys.
I think this is the time of year that the liquor industry really takes off because people really decide, like after Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, that you really need to drink to deal with your family.
Yeah, exactly. Things have to become tolerable, and the only way to do that is to drink massive amounts of alcohol. My family gets absolutely obliterated every single year they go down to meet my cousins. And I'm just thinking, like, it helps everybody mesh together.
I know I'm jumping ahead, but what I'm looking forward to this year for Christmas, my dad makes this holiday mixed batch of deliciousness called glug. It's a Norwegian drink, and it's basically like a bunch of spices, wine, vodka, and some other alcohol, and it's like simmered in these spices for like 24 hours, and then when you drink it, you get knocked the
That's
fuck
funny
out.
because
and
I
can't
actually
wait.
experienced that for the first time ever about 2 weeks ago. We did a Friendsgiving dinner that we always do because everybody goes home. So before Thanksgiving, we all get together at a friend's house. And one of my friends made glug, and I was like, the fuck is that? They're like, it's glug. I was like, I won't be drinking that because of the name. It just sounds gross. It's like, want some glug?
But once you drink it, you don't feel it. If it's made right, you don't feel it. And so when you stand up finally, you're like, oh. But Friendsgiving is another thing. Always terrible. There's always, it's always
I feel like
poorly cooked food.
Friendsgiving's sometimes better than family Thanksgiving.
Right, because you don't have to deal with, the shame of like not having your girlfriend at family dinner, or like, oh, so you're still working retail? Yeah, looks like your degree in child psychology is paid off.
Is that what your degree's in?
Mine's actually a history degree, so it's
more
useless. It's far less worth. It's worth less than any other degree, except for maybe a communications degree.
They're like, oh, you're majoring in history, so you just wanted to say you go to college.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I was like, what am I going to do in college?
How many pretty much people that went to college?
At least you didn't go with like a liberal arts degree.
Yeah, or like radio broadcasting.
Yeah. Oh, dig it, Matt. Wow.
I know he's not here to defend himself, so it's not really fair.
He is not.
That's fine. That's the best time to pick on someone.
You're right. Matt's a douche.
I didn't know you were going to dive head first into it.
Well, I mean, anything worth doing is worth doing right.
Oh yeah.
I love you, Matt. Don't worry.
Yeah, Matt. No, we miss you on this episode.
That could go either way.
It's just because you guys have a feud together. It's
a fun feud. Listen, it would be a more concise feud if I could understand what he was saying half the fucking time. I love you, Matt. I don't know why I'm just taking digs at Matt. I'm sorry. I love you, buddy.
I don't think he understands what he's saying half the time.
No,
look what you started. You started us down this rabbit hole of bashing Matt while he's not even here.
I didn't start it. I believe, Jordan, you began this Matt bashing. I just pointed it out.
So it's Thanksgiving. I mean, it's a nice holiday. It's not a real holiday, so it's, whatever. I enjoy kind of like sitting and watching football, but
I can't be honest, like I don't even really enjoy the food. You know what I mean? I almost feel like I'd rather have just like a bunch of pizza or something laid out. You know what I mean?
Really?
I'm a huge fan of Thanksgiving food. Come on, stuffing is the fucking bomb.
Yeah, stuffing is good and all that, but like the turkey's always like overcooked and dry.
Well, and that's the thing is so you got to start hosting Thanksgiving so the food is cooked to your likeness. But then there's a lot of work in that.
Yeah, I mean, like, and then the only other option is lamb. I mean,
why is lamb ever the goddamn option? I think you've just had a terrible Thanksgiving experience for most of your life.
Tom's gonna walk into his house and be like, "Can I have a hero,
like,
please?"
Yeah, Thanksgiving, that time where everybody cooks horrible and then makes you eat lamb. I was like, I think that's just your house, Tom.
I'm just going to make sure I order Papagenos to my mom's house before I go there for Thanksgiving. Mom, if you're hearing this, I love you and your cooking is great, but I'm still ordering a pizza.
I'm going to just show up to dinner with Chinese food. Don't bother me.
Yeah.
Mom, I love you. It's a gut reaction to call your cooking garbage, but trust me when I lie, I mean tell the truth that your cooking's
No, I mean seriously, can we have tacos? I'll thank you for giving me tacos on Thanksgiving.
You know what? I think my favorite part about Thanksgiving is like pumpkin pie. Is that your cat again?
That's your actual cat. All right, it's identical to your impersonation.
Tom's pussy's made an appearance on the show, guys.
Go away.
I'm totally leaving this in the episode.
Oh, good.
Go away.
Tom, trying to get his cat going. We are a well-oiled machine.
This episode is so dysfunctional.
I know. Listen, I've got a little bit of a feline problem.
Can we just change the podcast title to Dysfunctional Musings? Did you just throw your cat against a wall? Sounds like you took a running start and chucked it into a door.
There was no cat murder here.
Tom totally just Fred Flintstone to that.
He just opened a window and was like, ha, we got this.
I shooed the pussy out the door, you know what I mean? With my foot.
Tom, have you ever considered shaving your pussy?
No, never. Ever, actually.
And that's why you don't date.
Oh, wait, are we talking about the cat?
You're such a prude.
I am a prude.
Oh God, I can't believe that.
I only feed my pussy wet food.
We have come apart at the seams at this point.
She just wants attention. She wants to be
didn't
rubbed.
want to be thrown across a hallway.
When you rub your pussy, does it get excited?
I don't know. I think she gets a little sleepy.
Wow, that sounds like a low E problem.
How old is it?
I don't know, like 6 or 7.
Cool. Chris Hansen's going to have
probably
some questions about this discussion.
I feel like I'm being framed here for something like. I feel like Roger Rabbit.
So I feel like the best part about Thanksgiving is the dessert. I don't know, just pumpkin pie with whipped cream. Nah, can't go wrong.
Pumpkin pie is the worst pie they've made.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
If you get if you get a good pumpkin pie.
Listen, if you had every type of pie in front of you, if you had apple pie, pumpkin pie, cherry pie, the three most popular ones, you're never going pumpkin first.
No. Although I got to be honest, there's a bakery by my parents, and they make a patriotic pie, and it's apples, cherries, and blueberries.
And also, it's made with the sad tears of the poor.
I believe they prefer to be called veterans.
I was going to try and make another homeless joke. I just couldn't get it out fast enough.
ISIS.
Yes, I love the show Archer, too. Fucking John H. Benjamin is hilarious.
He is. I love this. I love this show. John Benjamin in his van or something.
John Benjamin has a van.
Yeah, it was a great show.
He was great as Coach McGurk on Home Movies back in the day.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah.
I love when H. John Benjamin, as Bob from Bob's Burgers, thinks he's Archer. It is my favorite episode.
Are you talking that flashback?
Are you talking about the Archer episode where he's Bob? Or are you talking about a Bob's Burgers episode where he's Archer?
I think it was the Archer episode where he's Bob.
Yeah, he wakes up and he's like in covert Bob's Burgers or whatever.
It's basically a little nod to that movie, A History of Violence, where he's working at the thing and those two guys come in and he murders the shit out of them. You've never seen A History of Violence, have you? Viggo Mortensen?
No.
It's a great movie.
Haven't. History of... Wait, I gotta write that down.
Violence.
History of Violence.
Are you actually writing? Why don't you just type it? You're at a computer.
No, I wrote it on my credit card bill. There we go.
Yeah, this went off the rails.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of editing. I
have a feeling that we're going to have a half an hour episode.
Hey, but it'll be a half an hour.
Didn't you guys already record 2 other chunks?
Yeah, we did.
We recorded one with you.
We prefer to call them segments, not chunks. Chunks, it makes it seem fat.
You know what the sad part about this is we recorded last Sunday and we still haven't finished a whole episode. It's been almost a full week. This is a new low for this show, and we've only been at this. This is episode 5, guys.
That's 5 hours of time invested into the show.
It is, and it's painful because with all the technical difficulties from the new server.
Sure. Blame me.
I'm not saying
Listen, I do is hit the record button and I hit the unrecord button.
Right, and then I have to do a lot of editing. Matt does too. He's not here, so I'm going to have to speak up.
On behalf of the editing staff.
Yeah, right. Unfortunately, I don't even know where to go from here, so I'm just going to go ahead and say... you know what we don't do ever consistently is plug ourselves on Twitter and Facebook. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now because you can find us at www.facebook.com/misguided musings. You can also find us on Twitter at Musing Podcast. Jesse's at HafricanJ. I am at J_K_Oster.
I don't have a Twitter.
And Tom is at
You know what? That's a good thing to the listeners. Someone make a Twitter account for Tom. Make a fake Twitter for Tom.
You could actually call it, fake Tom Twitter, and that'd be great. In fact, if you could call it Tommy Turnip, that'd be even better.
I will clarify. I am at African J, but it's not no L. It's African with an H.
African with an H.
Well, it says African, but I just didn't put the L in. I just wanted to have African with the. Yeah, I guess it's dumb.
Wait. There's an L in African?
Right, if he's half African.
Oh, so it'd be
exactly.
Like
that's why I just took.
Except for the L silent.
That's why I
dummy.
took the L out, so it's just African.
Oh, so it's like HAF?
Yes.
Jesse just doesn't.
So you just put an H in front of it?
Yeah.
All right.
Get it? Because he's half black. I don't know if the listeners picked up on that. And he's only the 3rd episode in with us, so.
I don't think we ever discussed it.
No, we didn't. We actually haven't talked about your roots at all.
No. Jordan's idea of interviewing me was, "Hey Jesse, so talk about yourself," and then he
He was like, "Hey,
he
so
just
you're from
rolled
Quincy,
away
huh?
from the mic.
Oh, that sucks."
I got to be honest. You're just not that interesting.
Really? The half-black adopted kid with a drug addict for a parent is not interesting enough for you, Jordan. What a charmed life you live.
Well, I do enjoy that white privilege.
Your ivory towers.
You sit in your ivory tower.
The next person that tells me that I'm enjoying white privilege, I'm going to tell them to go and give their house back to the Native Americans and see how they react.
I want to live in a teepee.
Eat maize. See, we're back to Thanksgiving. It all comes full circle eventually.
I think also at this point, Thanksgiving's no longer about the fake dinner with the Native Americans. I think everybody's kind of woken up to that. Is that still taught in schools? Are they still like, and then we sat down and we had dinner? No. you had smallpox blankets. The Pocahontas movie actually has a horrifying epilogue.
In fact, when you guys sat down, you actually stole the corn and the fish and everything from the Native Americans to eat so that you didn't die.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
When you landed on the shores, you said, "What a wonderful country we have here." You mean us? No. What we have here.
We can coexist if you guys just move west. And more west. More west. Now, hey, we're going to give you a bunch of liquor. If you could just give us your land. That's the word, land.
Land. Good
Band.
Well, I mean, the village people have a Native American.
No, but seriously, I hate Thanksgiving because I hate putting my kids in the car and driving them all over the place.
I agree. I totally agree. I don't even know how to describe how much I hate it. Jess, you don't have kids.
Nope, I don't. I get to still enjoy my life.
Yeah, it sucks. And then, because I have a wife and she has family too.
Yeah.
And so we have to figure out how to divide the time up. So one year we do Thanksgiving dinner with my folks and we do dessert with her folks, and the next year it flops. But it also works with Christmas. We'll do Christmas Eve. If we do dinner with one family, we do Christmas Eve with that. Oh God, I'm lost. Actually, I don't even know how it goes.
You don't even know your own holiday schedule?
No, it's a little concerning, actually.
You know what sucks for us is we're doing both families again this year, and it's so now I gotta drive a half an hour to her family's house and eat dry turkey and
what is with you people
sit
in the
at
dry
a table
turkey?
with a bunch of people. Nobody knows how to cook a turkey.
Dude, the only way to cook a turkey is to fry it. You got to put it in oil.
No, you can smoke a turkey too. In fact, it's delicious. Have you ever had smoked
I don't know,
turkey?
Jesse, have you ever tried to smoke a turkey? Does it get you high?
Listen, I don't do everything.
Oh, yeah, you said you did. I don't know.
Let's not talk about what I am and am not comfortable doing.
There's just a list of things that his dealer has. It's
turkey.
Listen, I don't know if you've been watching too many movies, but there's no such thing as a one-stop shop dealer. You have to have different guys for different things.
Well, it just drives competition. It's
Yeah.
On behalf of Misguided Musings, I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hopefully you aren't forced to eat lamb or gyros.
Don't be forced to eat lamb.
Or terrible lasagna and green bean casserole, and you can enjoy the time with your family. This is finding you after Black Friday, so avoid the riots.
Yes.
Because that's painful. Thank God I've got Black Friday off, and I work for a company that cares about their employees enough to give them 2 days off for Thanksgiving. On behalf of everybody here, thank you for listening. You are now going to hear Matt's Fuck It.
You know what makes me say, fuck it? Mixologist. When the hell have we decided that a bartender is now a scientist? Now, before you say anything and criticize for what I'm saying and saying that I am being insensitive and being a snob for referring to a bartender as a scientist, let me just tell you what ologist means. A person who studies or has knowledge of a particular kind of science. Making mixed mixed drinks doesn't make you a fucking scientist, okay? I don't know where this fucking term came from. It probably came from Williamsburg, Brooklyn, where all that pretentious hipster shit is coming from. But I am sick and tired of hearing the word mixologist. Don't get me wrong, I have the utter most respect for bartenders. I think they have a very hard job. They're not exactly paid greatly. And also at the same time, in many ways, they're almost like therapists, providing a certain prescription for somebody who's having an ailment or a mental breakdown. No, I am thankful for having bartenders, but I will not call them mixologists. Second of all, this whole mixology thing is just getting outrageous with the kind of mixed drinks they make now. And I swear, every time I go to a place where I have a so-called mixologist, the drink is weak. I am stiffed at the drink. I should be getting a stiff drink, not getting stiffed of alcohol. When I get a mixed drink, it has about 0.5 ounces of fucking alcohol, and the rest is just fucking juice. And then they try to use welding, try to use special kind of ice, try to put it in special kind of glass, which the glass is almost like 4 ounces, so they can fucking stiff me even more. It's outrageous. It is pathetic. It is pretentious. Please stop calling bartenders mixologists. They are bartenders. It's a respectful job, but don't make them into fucking scientists. Okay? America, get your fucking act together.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Misguided Musings.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network. Hey, Dawn, how's it going?
Living the dream. I'm actually just getting ready to do this commercial.
Oh, you mean the commercial where I tell our listeners to tune into Gear Network every week to listen to our show, Get Ready America? That one?
Yeah, John, that's the one.
They can also listen to us talk about news, sports, whatever's on our minds, that.
And a little what's on our listeners' minds, but they're just too nice to say it.
Well, that, Dawn, is a real humdinger.
Humdinger.
Come join us this and every week for Get Ready America exclusively on the Gear Radio Network.
And the Gear Network app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm Ryan Wolf.
it's Mr. Perez.
And I have a question for you, Perez.
What's your question?
Do you like to listen to people talk about sports?
No. Of course I like sports and listening to people talk about sports.
Well, guess what? I have the perfect solution for you.
Solution for me?
There's a podcast on this very network.
This network?
Every single week you can hear it.
Really?
New content, latest and breaking news. We talk about baseball, football, hockey, basketball, soccer, UFC, whatever you want to talk about.
So sports in general.
They talk about sports in general. You got it.
I like it.
You know the dictionary.
I like it.
Very proud of you.
Thank you.
I must say, tune in. We are better live than dead.
You're not.
Every single week. You're not going to want to miss it. Exclusively here on the Gear Radio Network.